So, Ron and I are going to Dubai. It's going to be very exciting. This is a very big step for us. Hopefully, we're going to meet some cool, exciting, smart people
Yeah.
who are already further ahead of us. And I woke up this morning and I messaged you the phrase that it was I woke up with it is, if you are the poorest person in the room, you're in the right room.
Yeah.
Let's touch upon a very important point here is the reason why, the main motivation why we have invested so much money into going to the seminar. And the reason for that is because something what Alex Hormozy says is paying off your ignorance debt, which basically means that both Ron and I are pretty dumb, right? We don't know what we're doing. I mean, we're learning by doing, right? We've never made, even $100,000 in online sales, right? But we want to get there, right? We want to grow to those numbers because we know it's possible. We see other people doing it, right? But we haven't done it, so we don't know how. And if we would do it ourselves, eventually, we're so we can bang our head against the wall, and
Yeah.
eventually we will get there. But it will take us a very long time. However, if we try to put ourselves in the same room with people who have already done it, right? Somehow, this is what we're trying to do
Yeah.
here now, they can be like, guys, stop being dumb. You don't have to do this. You have to do this instead. Stop doing this. Do this instead, right? So that's kind of the motivation.
Yeah, exactly. Like the past couple of weeks or months, actually, like me and George are also having conversations about how to improve our community, how to improve the course, how to deliver more value. And then it's oftentimes my opinion versus your opinion. And then it's okay, who can convince the other one the best? Well, when you're that is not always the best, because sometimes you're very convinced of your own opinion, which is normal.
Yeah.
So hopefully, with the seminar and meeting other experts, they're okay, guys, I'm seeing your situation also from a different, from a sideline view, which is probably easier to see certain bottlenecks. And then a couple persons can say hey, I would look in this direction. And for us, we have clarity, and we're not pointing fingers towards each other or giving each other our opinion, because in the end, we don't know yet, because we're basically if you look on the long-term perspective, we're just starting out. So we don't know as much.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, other people have a much more objective of ourselves than we do. And for example, one thing that I've also been doing for, many years now, I was, I always wanted to figure who am I, right? I wanted to figure what are my strengths? What are, yeah. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses, right? And then and when I thought to myself, I'd be is that really true? Am I that? Am I not this? Right? And so then what I figured out is, okay, well, and I read somewhere that other people have a much more objective view of ourselves than we do, right? Because they're not consumed with the stories that we tell ourselves, right? They observe us and our behavior as it is. So the one thing that I was doing, and I still do it, whenever I meet someone and I feel that the energy and the chemistry is right, I ask them hey man, you just met this guy, George, in your universe, in your life, right? What would you how would you describe him? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? What stands out to you, right? And then people describe you, but from a third person perspective, oh yeah, this guy and then that is whoa, really? And then you can take notes, and so that's pretty interesting. And the same thing applies to business.
Yeah, of course. It's also a first impression, or when you just meet someone new, it's way different, because in your own head, every maybe insecurity you have, or maybe the opposite. Maybe you're I'm very skilled in this certain area, and you get very caught up in your own mind, while other people don't have those thoughts. So it can be
Exactly.
it can shift your perspective a little bit, because oftentimes you don't know how you, for example, when you enter the room with certain people, the energy in the room can change, depends on who you are as a person and how you portray the room, that kind of stuff. And if you're not aware of that, that's maybe not good. So if you're more aware of it, you can leverage it in the future, in business, in life. So it's very important to ask those questions. Yeah, if possible. You can't do it with everyone, of course. You need to feel if it's the right moment.
Yeah. So Ron and I are going to Dubai. It's going to be very exciting. This is a very big step for us. So hopefully we're going to meet some cool, exciting, smart people who are already further ahead of us. And my kind of, I woke up this morning and I messaged you the phrase that it was kind of, I woke up with it is, if you are the poorest person in the room, you're in the right room.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm very curious as well, and and also I must say, like what you mentioned previously, like if you have like money to spend, you can make these bold decisions. But I think there's even a step before. You also need to have the free time to be able to make the decision to move tomorrow. So I think that's the first step that everybody should try for is like make sure you are boss of your own time. And if you want to leave
Yeah.
tomorrow to a place like it does not have to be Dubai or somewhere else, you can instead of going to your boss like, hey, how many like here in the Netherlands you have like holiday days. You have like 30
Yeah.
days a year, for example. Oh, can I request my holiday days? And oftentimes you need to do it in advance, like a
Yeah.
couple weeks in advance because they need to. Of course, you're working in a team, so it's logical. But
Plan things out. Yeah.
yeah. So like make sure like when you're building a business online that you get your time back as soon as possible, basically.